Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Do we have a full segment or are we breaking here in just a few minutes?
Your call, boss. I would say we go ahead and take another break here in about 3 minutes just to keep us on time.
Yeah,
but
no, that works. It is typically our afternoon delight debrief segment. I was going to see if I could find a quick one real fast. Here's a good one. We'll read it real quick before we go ahead and take that break. But this is from that UPI.com, which is just a wealth of fun news stories, but some may not find this one fun. This was from March 15th. It's venomous snake found trying to hide among the undies in the bedroom. And they found a snake. It was, again, March 15th. The snake catcher was called out to a home in Queensland, Australia. Not surprising, home of the most venomous snakes in the world, where the second most venomous snake in the world was found literally trying to hide among the undies in a resident's bedroom. The Sunshine Coast Snake Catchers 24/7 posted a video to Facebook showing the snake catcher, Daniel Rumsey's encounter with a juvenile eastern brown snake in a woman's bedroom. The video shows the serpent slithering through a pile of laundry, literally trying to hide among the undies. On the second story is the second most venomous snake on the planet, Rumsey says in the video. The bedroom's residents thanked the snake catcher in a comment on the post. Luckily, he stuck his head under the housemate's door. Otherwise, he would have been gone undetected, and I might have copped a bite when I went to bed, she wrote. The snake was located into the wilderness area. Whew. I don't think Australia, it sounds beautiful, but when you get out into the backwoods and what do they call that? The outback, it's just you never know.
What do they call the backwoods?
Yeah, I was trying to
maybe
think
the front woods.
Yeah, the outback. It's a large outback over there, but yes, lots of venomous snakes and other scary things out there in Australia. That's for sure. But
yeah, I mean, I guess you grow up around that, and you probably be pretty good at boxing roos and whatnot.
Yeah.
But and lots of spiders over there. But we kind of have a very similar situation here in Florida as well, dealing with all these swamps and wild animals.
Yes, reptiles are abundant, that's for sure.
Yeah, all those little baby dinosaurs out there scurrying around.
Yes, the velociraptors running up and down. But yeah, when we get back from this break, we'll jump right into the March Madness action and talk a little bit about some of the other stuff going on, some of the fun facts from the tournament. And again, tomorrow we'll be back on normal schedule, but we have two guests tomorrow. We're going to have Alan Sandage back on the line tomorrow talking about the wide receivers in the upcoming draft. And then, as always, we'll have Doc A on Tuesday as well. But thank you for that little service interruption. We are back live on the air. You're listening to the Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
Maybe Congress can fix this. That's how bad the NCAA is. Congress has a worse approval rating than Satan does. I mean, it's unbelievable.
He'll have to show up for work.
That was awesome. We're going to go out on that. I can't beat that one.
Weekday morning 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. For this afternoon and evening, mostly sunny and a high of 69 with wind 13 to 17 miles per hour out of the northwest. Clear skies tonight, a blustery wind and cool near 43. Sunny and 60 tomorrow with a wind coming out of the north at 8 miles per hour. 66 and mostly sunshine with a light breeze at 5 miles per hour Wednesday. This is your Monday's weather brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Do you use the expensive blue or yellow pills to charge your sex life? Are you thinking about it? What if we can promise you the same results for less than $3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pills deliver the exact same results for less than $3. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. And right now, radio callers will get 44 blue or yellow pills for $120 with free discreet shipping. You can save more than $700 off pharmacy prices. Charge your sex life now and save a ton of money. Call now and get your 44 pills and save over $700 and qualify for free shipping. Stop overpaying and call right now.
Paid for by Steel Man Pills. 800-261-7365. 800-261-7365. 800-261-7365. That's 800-261-7365.
Broadcasting live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios.
Have a quick stretch first.
The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
Must have pulled something playing hoops last week.
And Jay Henley.
I know you're not putting that rock up from here. You ain't got no J.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Do not forget, you've got a few days to do it if you want to be part of the ESPN Northwest Florida Big Bracket Challenge. All you got to do is head over to our website, espnpc.com. Click on that Big Bracket Challenge banner. It'll take you right to how you sign up. If you don't have an ESPN fantasy account, you can go ahead and register. It's real easy. And if you already do, all you do is join the group, put your bracket in, and you got to start making the decisions. Who you're going to pick, where the upset's going to fall, all that good stuff. Got the playing games coming up. The 19th and the 20th. Tournament gets underway on the 21st. Looking forward to another exciting season of March Madness, that's for sure. We talked a little bit about at the beginning of the show some of the how the conference championships, maybe not seem to matter as much, and certainly interesting when you have some performances in there that may change some things. But one of the things you've got to figure out if you're going to be successful in these brackets is when to pick the upset and who to upset. David, anybody that comes to mind early on in this bracket that you might be looking at as a team for to pull off an upset?
I haven't done a ton
I know there's there's 32 games.
Yeah, no doubt. But I haven't done a ton of studying on it yet. And again, I don't think that I'm going to this year. I'm just going to try to find some odd facts and whatnot. I might just choose by jersey color this year, but
probably the same a chance.
The one that stands out to me, especially, and it could be, I could be thinking of this the opposite. That it hasn't been a loud year for Gonzaga, and it's been a while since they haven't been a force to be reckoned with, at least for the first few rounds of the tournament. But McNeese State. Only 3 losses on the year. I know that's different competition, but I think I'm liking them as a 12 seed over the 5th seed Gonzaga Bulldogs.
Ooh, I like that over there in the Midwest bracket. That game played out there in Salt Lake City. But we were talking a little bit off the air, but some of the average, here's from USA Today, and this is how often the lower seeds win in an NCAA tournament, more speaking in simply the first round of the tournament. But this is the average number of first round upsets for these seed, and it's upsets per tournament. Again, this is the statistical side of things. The number 9 seed has an average of 2.1 upsets per tournament. So there's 4 9 seeds. So if they average 2.1, I mean, I know they're only playing the 8 seed, but that means that a little more than half of the total number 9 seeds there will historically and statistically upset those. And on the bracket side of things, the 9 seeds that we do have starting over there in the eastern side of the bracket, you've got the number 9 seed, and that one is going to be Northwestern. They're taking on Florida Atlantic. FAU, who had that big run last year, will they pick up where they left off?
Oh, I think that's going to be USF's spot this year. I think USF makes a deep run. I don't know where they ended up putting them at. They should have definitely made the tournament, though.
Yeah, South Florida?
Yeah,
I think they did. Let's see if I can read quickly and go fast on the we'll stick with that 8-9 upset. You got Michigan State and Mississippi State. I don't see Michigan State winning that one. I think Mississippi State's playing some good basketball right now, and I think that one. So if like you said, if Florida Atlantic's not the team and Northwestern could potentially do it, that's a shot. And you got Texas A&M as a 9 seed playing the 8 seed Nebraska in the southern region, and I could see Texas A&M easily getting that one. I haven't seen South Florida yet. It's not.
No, maybe
they might have got They might be on this article about snub teams that I listed.
There you go.
And then the other 8 and 9 seed matchup is going to be TCU and Utah State. So that's kind of where if you want to use data and analytics while doing your bracket, you can kind of work off of these statistics here. Where in the 9 seeds, 2.1 times per tournament, a number 9 seed upsets that would be the number 8 seed, and then going down to the number 10 seed. So again, you've got 4 of these matchups for each of them, so it's out of 4. So the number 10 seed upsets, I guess they would be playing the number 7 seed 1.6 times each tournament, going back using all the historical data in that one. So you're probably going to have at least one upset there on the 10 seed versus the 7 seed. And those particular matchups, let's see where we could live and find a couple that might be able to do it. You got Drake versus Washington State. I could easily see Drake winning that one. And then down there in the west side of the bracket, you've got Nevada at Dayton. Nevada's been playing some good ball. I believe they won their conference championship, if I remember that off the top of my head correctly, playing the Dayton Flyers over there. And then up in the south, or down in the south bracket, even though it's up on the piece of paper, number 10 seed, that's going to be the winner of Boise State and Colorado taking on Florida. I think Florida easily gets out of the first round on either one of those.
Yeah, USF was snubbed. In fact, Sam Granville just texted me as well with WMBB. They made it to the NIT, didn't win their conference, but man, they had a great season. I was almost for sure they'd get in, but yeah, FAU. I guess we'll just continue to root them on, see if they can get out of the first round.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, does Purdue pull or Virginia?
I can see it happening. I
cannot.
I can certainly see.
I cannot.
They've won. They had an unbelievable season. Obviously, well deserving of a number 1 seed. But it just down the stretch, they just lost a couple of the games that it seems like they should have won. But it's interesting to. Just heard from one of our listeners, Michigan State. He always wins as a lower seed or the worst seed. I don't know what to call it. And so he said, book that one. I think that was the 8 and 9 over there in the West bracket, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Michigan.
We just got to figure out how to word it, but that's the poll question for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Higher seed or lower seed?
Yeah. When you are you're 14 playing 2, what are you as 14? The higher or the lower seed?
For me, that'd be the lower seed, but I know some people would be like, well, 1 as a value is lower than 14. Well, yes, sir. Take your technical tail on.
Yeah, see, that's where I think I would do it too, but I think more because of the golf aspect of things. Because my score was lower. It was a 3, not a 4.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we'll answer that poll question tomorrow. That is for sure. That'll be an interesting one. All right, over on the Midwest side, the 10-7 matchup is going to be the winner of the play-in game, Virginia and Colorado State versus Texas. I can see Virginia getting in there. Obviously, they've been a 1 seed in recent years and have also had lost in recent years as a very low seed or high seed, whatever we're going to call it. But I could see that one certainly being an upset factor, that's for sure. It stays pretty much the same with the 11 and 12 seeds. You got a 1.5 wins per tournament on the upset things as an 11 seed in the first round and 1.4 as a 12 seed. So basically, if you believe in analytics and statistics and data, you're going to have 2 number 9 seeds upset and 1, potentially 2 in the 10 seed, but most likely just 1 in the 12, 11, and 10 seeds. So you gotta pick one, and then you just gotta figure out which one it is. So it's some good statistical data to help with your bracket.
Oh, absolutely. And 8 and 9 should be a split.
It's a 50-50, right?
Yeah,
which it basically is because it's a little over 2, which is half the games, but that makes sense. Now it does drop up, drop down, not drastically from 12 to 13, but it drops about 0.6 upsets per tournament. The number 13 seed historically has a 0.8% chance of upsetting the number 5 seed? No, number 3 seed then on the number 13, right? Am I right on that?
3 would be 14.
3 would be 14. Yeah. So in the eastern side of things, your number 3 seed is going to be the Fighting Illini, who won their conference championship. They'll be taking on Morehead State. And, I hope he's not listening. He probably isn't because he's probably out of the zone. So we were watching some basketball with some people yesterday, and then we went and had some lunch, and we had a bunch of kids with us. And Duquesne, right?
Yeah.
They were playing on the TV, and we asked every one of the kids, how do you pronounce that school? And you heard all sorts of different stuff. Eventually, they figured it out. But what I was going to do is print out the word and then just show it to Jay on the air and see if he may know off the top of his head. But if he doesn't, we'll see if he knows that Duquesne University up there that looks just like Duquesne. That is for sure. But they're taking on the number 6 seed BYU. But yes, in the East bracket, Illinois and Morehead State, that could be one of your upsets. I don't see it. Illinois is playing some really good basketball right now. They won their conference championship. Although the bracketology people and the selection committee don't seem to weigh that as much, I think it's just as important to continue playing good basketball. If you win your conference champ, that can't be anything but more motivation. People could say, oh, you played more games, you're more tired. You're getting a break all the way until Thursday from playing on Sunday. So that's almost like your normal rotation. And I think it weighs more to be able to play all the way through and win a conference championship for your confidence heading into the tournament. And I'm sure there's some data and some statistics that we could go back and look at that show some of these upsets that have happened with a 15-2 or a 16-1. How did they do in their conference tournament? Did they play all the way through? Did they get eliminated early? That's a lot of deep diving. That's a Keith Fleming kind of thing if I've ever heard it.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, what do you think, David? Do you think winning your conference championship, knowing you weren't going to be a number 1 seed already, because I think the number 1 seeds that all got chosen were projected to be number 1 seeds already, and only one of those teams, the one you picked, UConn, won their conference championship.
Yeah, the only one that wasn't a for sure number 1 seed going into it was North Carolina. You were basically down to 3 teams at that point, and possibly you could add in Illinois to that, but it was basically coming down to North Carolina, Tennessee, and Arizona. And with Tennessee having their early exit,
I think Oregon was like plus 800 on the money line and just dominated Arizona in that one. That was pretty wild. They went up to win the conference championship, though, so that was cool.
What was the original question?
How important do you think it is for some of these teams that weren't the number 1? It's been a weird day.
Yeah.
I got here at 11:59 or 10:59. The internet goes out. Jay's not here. It's just a interesting start to spring break here in Bay County. But the question was,
that's what we'll do. We'll blame it on spring break.
There you go. Absolutely, absolutely. But these teams that weren't, knew they weren't going to be a number 1 or a number 2 seed, and they go on to win their conference championship and play really good ball, like in NC State, like in Auburn. Like obviously UConn won, but these teams making these runs. Do you think that helps build that confidence and momentum going into the tournament more so than if you were maybe had a chance to make a run and get moved up in seeds? And obviously several of these number 1 seeds lost, in the quarterfinals, and some of them lost in the semifinals.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on your disposition heading into the conference tournament. Are you there just to be there, or are you there to prove that you are the best team in the conference? Because you can go throughout the regular season and dominate your conference there, but then once you get into that tournament, now it's tournament style, and anytime you lose a game, you're out. And which is different than the NBA, where you've got 7 games to prove that you're the better team. And this time it's all about how the ball bounces. I mean, you go back to the Florida-Alabama game, no excuse. Florida absolutely dominated that. But the only reason I bring this up is because how the ball was bouncing. There was a lot of rebounds that it seemed like the ball was coming straight to an Alabama player, and then it would hit the floor, and next thing you know, it just took a hop and Florida's ball there. So I think that it definitely does a lot for your confidence. I mean, for a team like Auburn, I mean, I think that's something that, why are you sitting there as a number 4 seed after you just won the SEC, and then we want to say that the SEC is one of the better conferences? I mean, you have to go back to what Jeff said earlier today. The Big 12 has probably been the strongest conference in basketball this year, and for Houston to come in and do what they did, very impressive. But Iowa State, I mean, they deserve that number
41
2 seed.
points. You let the quote-unquote number 1 team in the country score in the conference championship.
41 points. 41. Iowa State, man.
Hey, that Iowa defense runs strong in either school across sports, that's for sure. But 41 points. They scored double that in the semifinal game before Houston did.
But the one thing I would like to see is if you're going to have these conference games on Sunday, now I think that they matter to the players regardless, but they should matter to the selection committee as well.
Yeah.
You know, and
Well, and you have what? It was 30 minutes before they started their bracket announcing
that
when
Illinois-Wisconsin game finished. Yeah.
So how much are they already have set in stone at that point? Or are they really going back in the last 30 minutes and rearranging?
Well, we talked with Kerry Miller, who's a writer for Bleacher Report. We had him on the show with us Friday, and he said basically none of this stuff is made for TV matchups. He actually got to do like a behind-the-scenes thing with them a few years back. I think he said a decade ago. So it could have changed, but they find the number one seeds, and then everything kind of just falls into place from there. So watch out for North Carolina, too. Yeah, they are a number one seed, but they didn't even make the tournament last year. And, you know, Armando Bacot's been there for a decade or better now. I'm being facetious, but I'd watch out for them.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, and again, I'm not a basketball expert by any means, but I've watched a lot more in the last couple weeks than I probably have in a long time. But that West bracket, with North Carolina being your number one seed, you got Arizona as number 2, Baylor is number 3, Alabama 4, St. Mary's is 5, and then it goes up and up. Seems like, you know, where North Carolina may have a little easier of a path than some of these other number one seeds in their particular bracket. But again, like you said, when you play in your conference tournaments, you know you can lose, and you're still going to play in the NCAA tournament if you're already in. But this, it's you're in or you're out. Real quick, getting back to a couple of those statistics, the 15 and 16 seeds, they have 0.3 upsets per tournament. So obviously closer to 0 more often than not. It doesn't happen, but it does happen every once in a while, and in recent years it's continuing to happen. Are you bold enough to pick a number 1 team going down or a number 15 going down? Because if you have that number 1 seed winning the national championship in your bracket and they lose, that certainly changes a lot of things quickly. That is for sure.
I think Tennessee's a 2 seed, right?
Tennessee is a 2. Marquette is a 2. Yes, Tennessee's a 2 seed.
So I think they got St. Peter's.
They do, St. Peter's. Yep.
That would be the one that I've just got my eyes on now. I think the last I looked, Tennessee was like a 25-point favorite in that game. So I don't know if I take the money line on St. Peter's because that was a team that took down Purdue 2 years ago. Yep. Last year, Purdue, as a number 1 seed, lost to Fairleigh Dickinson. But yeah, I would watch out for that one. Yeah, I don't think I'm really curious to see how that Big 12 win motivates and adds momentum for the Cyclones of Iowa State.
Yeah, definitely. That's a team to look out for sure. Marquette is playing Western Kentucky in the South bracket. That's another 2 and 15 matchup. You never know. Marquette obviously had a fantastic season in the Big East, but you never know about those Hilltoppers. You got to watch out for them. And then over on the West side, you've got Arizona playing Long Beach State, who I believe won the Big West, if I am in the right conference, won their conference tournament to get in. And then Iowa State, I think, cruises over South Dakota State. So then you're 1 and 16. You got UConn and Stetson right over there from DeLand, Florida. Houston and Longwood College, who won the Big South, automatic bid getting in there.
Longwood is interesting because they fired their coach like 3 weeks ago, but let him coach throughout the rest of the season. And they're going to be dancing.
Yep, it's that's got to be a first for sure. No, Long Beach State, yes. Dan Munson was. They both agreed to a mutually parting ways, and then won the conference tournament. So
was it Long Beach State?
Long Beach State,
okay,
yeah. They won. They beat UC Davis in the Big West Championship. So he is going to be continuing to coach. But what a way to go out after you agree is a potential. Maybe an upset. Who knows? You never know how some of these teams are going to do in the tournament. But Purdue will take on the winner of Montana State and Grambling, and I know this is Grambling's first ever NCAA tournament appearance. So very exciting for them. And what was the last but not least? You got North Carolina taking on the winner of Howard and Wagner. You guys are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. It's a Monday, and we'll be right back.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Your exclusive home for March Madness.
And it goes for the win!
We'll bring you every game live. It's the NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament, college basketball's premier event, and it's all right here.
And the dream is alive!
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
The dream, yes!
Attention homeowners, are you dreaming of a backyard oasis? Look no further than S&R Fencing, your go-to destination for quality outdoor transformations. At S&R, they specialize in crafting custom fences, decks, retainer walls, and all exterior construction that not only enhances the beauty of your home, but also stands the test of time. Their experienced team takes pride in delivering top-notch craftsmanship with a personal touch. S&R Fencing, locally owned, licensed, and insured, and a member of the BBB.
Tax Talk with Straight Talk.
You give and you give. This tax season, you get with Straight Talk Wireless. You get a reliable 5G network and unlimited data and a Samsung Galaxy A14 included when you buy an extended Silver Unlimited plan. So you can give your janky phone to your kid. Yeah!
Switch to Straight Talk for plans starting as low as $25 a line per month for 4 lines. Find us at straighttalk.com. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com. Device offer ends 4/14/24. Online only. Family plan discount with 4 lines, all on the Silver Unlimited plan. Taxes and fees apply.
Your biggest investment is your home. Protect it while also improving its appearance with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. We have sand, mulch, gravel, or lay down decorative stone, all available for pickup and delivery. Discover your dream landscape with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Imagine the moment you proudly pull up to your home that you've worked so hard for, enhanced by quality mulch, decorative stones, and more. Let's make it happen today. Request a quote online at earthworkspc.com or swing by the office at 2005 Industrial Drive. Love the land you live on.
And now the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
We're going to have a talk. Tell me what you know.
Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios.
It's a frantic noise.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. I'm going to say it one more time. I'll keep saying it until we get the tournament kicked off. You go to ESPNPC.com, click on the Big Bracket Challenge, and sign up to be a part of ESPN Northwest Florida's March Madness bracket. We got some awesome prizes sponsored by some local sponsors here, and we're looking forward to seeing how everybody does, because come usually about Saturday, everybody's like, oh, this upset, that upset, a lot of different stuff going on. But yeah, I'm going to pivot a little bit real quick and talk about some of the college baseball movement in the polls, because Florida State, well-deserved, has made a jump from not being ranked to now being ranked in the poll. This is the Division I baseball top 25. They went from not being ranked, and they are still undefeated, the only undefeated team left, and they went from nothing to 12th. That is the highest entry point by a previously unranked team in Division I poll history. They jumped right into it. They're going to play Stetson and a weekend series with number 4 Clemson coming up this weekend. But kudos to them. They took down Notre Dame, which was the former place where Link Jarrett coached. So good for them. But your ratings are they're on the move. But we're getting into the meat now as conference play is starting, and Arkansas isn't the number 1 spot. Oregon State number 2, part of the Pac-2. Vanderbilt number 3 as they took Auburn down in a weekend series this past weekend. Clemson number 4, LSU 5, Florida number 6, Texas A&M number 7, Tennessee number 8, Duke number 9, East Carolina, those Pirates, all the way up to number 10, Alabama rounding out number 11. Like I said, Florida State jumped from not being ranked to number 12. Coastal Carolina at number 13 as they took 2 out of 3 from James Madison this past weekend, their first series of the Sun Belt Conference play. Virginia number 14, DBU, one of the biggest movers this week, up to number 15, Wake Forest 16, Oklahoma 17, TCU 18, the Hokies of Virginia Tech at 19, North Carolina rounding out that top 20, followed by Mississippi State, the Campbells staying in the top 25, Auburn dropped all the way to 23, UC Irvine, that I believe is the Banana Slug. No, that's UC Santa Cruz, the Banana Slugs. I confuse Irvine and them. And then somehow UC Santa Barbara is still staying in there. I don't know how my dad's team just keeps holding out, but so a lot of good movement. But good to see Florida State get the ranking that they deserved and jumping into that top 25. That is for sure. We'll pivot a little bit, David, real quick, and I want to get your thoughts. Obviously, breaking news. It was either Friday night or on Saturday. I can't remember off the top of my head. But Justin Fields is on the move, and I think a lot of people probably didn't see this coming because they assumed he was probably going to be going somewhere to be a starter. But he's headed the Pittsburgh Steelers in exchange for a 6th-round draft pick. Seems like a steal for the Steelers. If he plays 51% of the snaps, that 6th-round pick will turn into a 4th-round pick. David, what were your thoughts on that trade? Were you surprised that he went to the Steelers?
Oh, yeah. What, this happened Friday night, right?
I think it was either Friday night or Saturday night. But
no, it had to be.
Oh,
it could have been Saturday night. I went to the Pensacola Ice Flyers game Saturday night.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a blast, man.
They had a record in attendance this year.
Yeah, they did. They broke that record while we were there, actually.
Ooh, nice. It's because of you.
Season-long record, great seats, too, as well. We were we were in row L, so how many ever numbers that is compared to letters. It was a great time, a great brand of hockey, too. Like, honestly, I know that it's minor league and whatnot, but definitely going to be something that I add into the mix of going to a game every year from here on out. And if you haven't ever been to a hockey game, I mean, it's not the same level as the NHL atmosphere as far as, like, the raucous crowd, but it gets pretty rowdy in there, and they have a good time. And the Ice Flyers won 2-1, and we got a fight within 30 seconds of the puck dropping, and then there was an ejection as well. So it was great stuff. So I was very surprised to see the Justin Fields trade for a 6th-round pick.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what the Tennessee what is 31 other teams in the National Football League doing? Like, you can take a guess on your 6th-round pick, but if you need a backup quarterback, or if you're the Minnesota Vikings, which I could understand the Bears not wanting to trade within their division, but I don't see why you wouldn't give up a 6th-round pick for Justin Fields because, all right, he had the dislocated thumb last year, but each year has somewhat been a progression. And if I'm the Bears, man, I'm finally adding weapons, and I'm adding weapons for someone that I don't even know what they bring to the table. With Justin Fields, at least you know what he brings to the table and that he's highly mobile and he gets better each year. But, hey, the Bears don't want nothing to do with it. They're washing their hands with him. It's so cheap that it's a 6th-round draft pick. Now the Steelers, I'm not going to sit here and say something as bold as they have the best quarterback room in the NFL.
Yeah,
no, they don't, but they have a very interesting one. They just went from Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, and Mason Rudolph to Russell Wilson and Justin Fields.
Yeah.
And Justin Fields is in a prime position now because he can at least learn from a quarterback who's been there. Where you can say whatever you want about Russell Wilson because I'm in that same lane as most people that he just don't really he's not the same. He's never been that quarterback that is the guy that's just going to win you ball games through and in and of himself. No, it was about the run game and about the defense. And so if Justin Fields can pick up on some of those qualities, they're going to have the great run game over there. They're going to have the great defense. And now you've got a coach who ain't going to put up with your shenanigans. You're not going to have no office around here or anything like that. Your office is going to be in the locker room, and hopefully you lead the team. And then if not, if Russell Wilson can't get it done, which they seem to be pretty inclined that he can, as we heard earlier on the Dan Patrick Show talking about an extension already for him. He thinks he can play 5 to more 7 years. But, yeah, for me, man, now you got Justin Fields back there. So if Russell Wilson does go down to injury, hey, I mean, Justin Fields with Najee Harris. I like Khalil Herbert over there in Chicago. I do. But I think that the running back room that Justin Fields is going to be a part of, or not a part of, but is going to have at his disposal is much more impressive.
Well, and you never know either. I mean, you may see a little bit of, a package every once in a while for Justin Fields. I mean, you don't see it too often in the NFL, but you may see that just a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, and if the Steelers, if this was their intention all along, and you would like, you never know what all these chess pieces have to get moved into place and your opponents have to move in specific spots for you. But if their whole thing was, all right, we're going to sign Russ for really cheap because we know he's getting paid by the Broncos for another however many years, so he's still owed $85 million, and they had already kind of got this potential Justin Fields move in the work, that's a move for the future for the Steelers because they're bringing in a guy who obviously, you can say whatever you want to say about his success. He did win a Super Bowl. He's had his ups and downs, but he's been in the league for a long long time. He's a veteran. He knows what it takes. And Justin Fields, when he was drafted back in 2001, he wasn't going to be the starter. He was number 2 behind Andy Dalton, and Andy Dalton got hurt in the second game of the season, and that forced Justin Fields into action, and he started the next straight 8 contests. So the original plan with Justin Fields wasn't to have him have to be a year 1 starter. So it's almost like, he's grown a little bit in the NFL. They're getting him behind a veteran. If he gets injured, he's going to be there. But it sounds like they're setting up Justin Fields to be the franchise quarterback of the future for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But the fact that the Bears, just a 6th-round pick is all they got right now. And, you remember 3 years ago now when they got Justin Fields, they moved up 9 spots in the first round to select Justin Fields at number 11. And by moving up, they sent 4 draft choices to the Giants. In rounds 1, they gave him the 20th pick. In rounds 5, 164. And then in 2022, they gave up a pick in round 1 and 4. So you had 2 first-round picks and a 4th round and a 5th round picks in 2 straight draft years. And now all you're getting is just 6. But how much of that is influenced by the fact that they do have 2 picks, one of them being the number 1 pick and another pick inside the top 10?
I think it's got a little bit to do with it. I think it's got it has a lot to do with the fact that they do have 2 picks right there. I'm still surprised 6th-round pick though, man. And yes, it could. What is the stipulation for it turning into a 4th round?
51% of the snaps have to be played.
I don't think that he's going to play 51% of
Not with everything you're reading and hearing. Yeah. And unless Russell was to get hurt, in the first or second game significantly, I think that's the only way you see it happen.
I could see the Steelers even signing another quarterback and having him.
Well, they're going to have to. Yeah, they're going to have to because I think they've only got him and Fields on the roster right now since. Did Rudolph go to the Titans?
Yeah, yeah. It's been a Rudolph type of an offseason for the Titans. It's one of those ones that could. It's not Super Bowl contending. Not Mason Rudolph. Just the entire offseason for the Titans is not Super Bowl bound at all. It doesn't even put you into contention. I don't even know if it puts you in contention for the AFC South legitimately, but it is one that maybe the on-field product could be interesting to watch because at least you have added some weapons. I don't agree with the price at all on Calvin Ridley, but if Treylon Burks can be what he was expected to be, which I don't think that that's going to happen, but Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, Chika Okonkwo, and Tajay Sharp and Tony Pollard, it could be interesting if they can get that offensive line fixed up and give Will Levis some time. If not, and honestly, people can point out every other game that Will Levis looked good in. I don't find him to be very consistent, and so we'll see about that.
Yeah, definitely a lot of free agent moves still to happen, and I'm hoping the Niners will start making some moves on the offensive line here. They've really bolstered up their secondary and their defensive line despite some departures, but they're having a good offseason thus far and trying to create some cap space, a lot of restructuring, and we'll see where Brandon Ayuk ends up because that's still kind of in limbo, but there's a lot of time still with guys that are under contract whether to extend them or not.
So. Is it still leaning heavily towards the Jaguars? That's what I've been hearing a lot of.
Yes, but if you listen to what Lynch says and all that, they said they're going to do everything impossible to make the deal work with them. I mean, they've restructured Kittle's contract, Warner's contract, Juszczyk's contract. I think McCaffrey's contract was even restructured, so they're freeing up all this cap space, and by releasing Eric Armstead, that freed up a bunch of cap space too, because the guy they got, I forget his name, he's a good rusher, edge rusher from the Texans. I think Collins is his name. He's actually less expensive than Eric Armstead. So they're doing some things, and also they got to do a lot of things too, because next year obviously they'll be looking to pay Brock Purdy what he quote unquote deserves, especially if he has another good season. But the offensive line for the Niners is key. I was reading something earlier today that Brock Purdy had elite efficiency with his offensive line performing in the below average category all season long. So maybe he doesn't need any more time. Maybe that'll make him worse. But but obviously
maybe he'll think too much.
Yeah, exactly. Having to throw it fast. But one more quick interesting story on these last couple minutes we got. And it does relate to college basketball. I don't know if you saw this one, David, or not. It came out last week. But the new in-season men's college basketball tournament to offer $2 million in NIL deals. This is going to be an 8-team event starting next year, expanding to 16 teams in 2025. When it'll pay out $1 million to each team and another $1 million to the winner. Coaches, collectives, and NLI operators will distribute the earnings to the current players. The first one-of-its-kind men's basketball tournament launching this fall will offer up to $2 million in name, image, and likeness deals to participating teams. The tournament, dubbed the Players Era, will host 8 teams this fall in the MGM Arena in Las Vegas and 16 teams again starting in 2025. The tournament operation is guaranteeing that sponsors and other tournament partners will offer each school a total of $1 million in NIL money for participating. That money will be funneled to collective, boosters, and other NIL entities, and the coaches and teams will be able to distribute the money however they see fit, as long as the money is going to current players, not future players. The winning team will be eligible to earn another $1 million to be distributed in the same way. What are your thoughts on that one?
I think I think winning that tournament or being in that tournament can cause you problems down the road.
For the regulars, yeah.
I love the idea. I really do. But here's where I'm seeing the issue right up front. Instead of it being cut, what do you got, 12, 13 guys on the team, and it being an equal percentage, I could very well see the guy who's the biggest name on the team gets 50% of the money and the rest of it. And then so, you know, the this backup point guard walks up to the star player. Oh man, that was cool. We got 25,000. Man, I got 500,000 now.
But you got to think that's probably happening right now already too, despite the tournament with just the
it
NIL
is. But at the end of the day, like when you're playing in a tournament or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's we're playing as a team. So I don't know.
Well, and I would hope that, you know, and again, you just never know the mindsets of a lot of these kids, and you would just hope that, you know, that money that you may get is more than you would have had because you're in the tournament, and somebody's getting way more, but it's all about perspective, I guess. I don't know. But I just thought that was it reminded me a little bit about the NBA in-season tournament. Now they're doing one on the college side of things, and
I want tournaments to start the season, tournaments in the middle.
Might as well just be a tournament all year long.
Does it? I mean, right? Does it eventually devalue March Madness?
This is a required monthly test of the emergency alert system. Had this been an actual emergency or dangerous situation, official messages and directions would have followed the alert tones. This test is brought to you by the Florida Division of Emergency Management, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and your local broadcast station or cable provider. This concludes the required monthly test.
At 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.